Go ahead and get started. You got about 1 minute, or? I said we'll go ahead and get started if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so good evening. Welcome to the Design Review Board. This is a regular Design Review Board meeting of the City of Milton. I am Ken Warlick. This is a 7-member board appointed by the City of Milton Mayor and City Council, created for the purpose of holding public hearings and making recommendations. The Design Review Board reviews plans and makes recommendations to the Community Development Director for the developments, except for single-family residential, in the form-based code and overlay districts. In addition, the Design Review Board approves or denies demolition requests and makes recommendations to the Board of the Zoning of Appeals on variances. So before we get started, I would like to go ahead and call order and do the Pledge of Allegiance. If I can, ask everyone now at this time to go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, great. Next, we're going to introduce our staff and board members.
Jacqueline, Planner 2.
Michael Cardeman, Senior Planner.
Samia Coker, Cheltenham Walk.
Celeste Jackson, Saddle Springs Drive.
Casey Robinson, Parkbrook Trace.
Ken Warlick, Hipworth Road.
Danielle Gagney, Morning Mountain Way.
And Danella, Haybridge Lane.
All right, great, thank you. So before we kind of get started with tonight's, we'll go ahead and, can I get an approval for tonight's agenda and minutes, please, or agenda, please?
Make a motion to approve tonight's agenda of Design and Review Board, Tuesday, April 9th, 2024.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Robinson and a second from Ms. Coker. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's unanimous. All right, so now we'll move on to approval of the meeting minutes from Tuesday, March 5th. Can I get a motion for the approval of those minutes from that meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2024.
I second.
All right, we've got a motion from Mr. Robinson and a second from Ms. Gagney. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. All right, moving on. Tonight, we do not have any demolition of structures, so we're just going to go ahead and move straight past demolition and into our courtesy reviews. So starting tonight, 6A, courtesy review is for the City of Milton Fire Station number 45. Jackie, if you can give us some background on this one, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone. The Design Review Board, and of course, everyone is here. Good evening. So our first item for courtesy review is Fire Station 45. I just want to let you know this is a courtesy review. Your feedback, input is very valuable. The team, Mr. Rob Ross is going to present this to council next week, the council work session. So any feedback that you can give with this plan will be appreciated. All right, so the location of this property is 13801 Birmingham Highway. The size of the parcel is 2.091 acres. It is currently zoned civic building site. It's within the character area of Central Milton, and the existing use is a public or government facility. The applicant, Mr. Joey Bodiford from MSSA PBK Architects, is requesting to review the proposed site and building plan for Fire Station 45. Moving on. So just to give you a little bit of background, the City of Milton engaged with the architects to work on the design of a new fire station building to be constructed on a city-owned property. And this is located again at 13801 Birmingham Road, which is the eastern side of New Providence Road and Birmingham Highway intersection or roundabout, as you can see in the site map to your left. The proposed improvements for the site include the construction of a fire station building. It will include parking spaces, ingress, egress drives, sidewalks, stormwater facility, septic field, and a connection to existing water distribution. And they are proposing to construct a one-story building with approximately 11,000 square feet, plus a 222 square feet outdoor storage. So I've just highlighted below the parts of that building, with two bay door drive-through, garage, bunk room, offices, fitness room, indoor storage, decontamination room, covered patio, kitchen, day room, and community room. And at this point, I want to turn over the presentation to Joey, and then I'll come back shortly for the staff analysis and recommendation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, yes, Chief Ben Musa will say something first.
Okay.
Good evening, Chair and board members. My name is Gabriel Ben Musa. I'm the fire chief. So I just want to give you a little bit sort of like when we set out for this, my vision was to incorporate a lot of the uniqueness of the Milton. So we set out to find some inspiration. We looked at one of our Milton barn books. We took a drive around Milton with our architects. So hopefully what we're going to present you today is something that really reflects the sort of the heritage of Milton and speaks to what Milton should be, what a fire station. I've always believed that a fire station should fit the community, be part of the community, not be some big, imposing, brutalistic kind of type building. So hopefully what you're going to see on like, but we're looking forward for your feedback as far as the design, as far as some of the features. One of the things when I actually drew this on paper when I started, I'm not an architect. I have a little bit of an artistic touch, right? It was on a napkin, like, so it made kind of like.
That's how all inspiration starts.
That's it.
Right?
So, but really what I had the vision, because the way the lot is, I wanted it to be, any way you looked at the building, it looked alive. It had like almost like a 360. So you're not just the front, typically the door, the back is just this kind of massive brick wall or whatever it might be. So we look forward to your feedback, and thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. My name is Joey Bodiford. I'm the project manager and architect for the Milton Fire Station 45. So like you already were made aware of the site, we're pretty fortunate. It's just a grass field, not a lot of trees, not a lot of different grade situations. And as you already heard, that there was 3/4 of the site is open to street. And that was part of one of our design concepts. That's what this diagram kind of shows, is how you enter the site, how you exit the site, all the vehicular access, all the different views that we had to battle. So the concept was here, what's the front door? And basically we have like 3 front doors based on vehicular access and how we address the street frontage and keeping up with, the vernacular of what Milton is. And here is the infamous chief sketch.
The other one didn't make it in.
The other one didn't make it in. There's 22 slides. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we
They didn't
utilize
even really
this.
need you, did they?
No. Yeah, hand this to a contractor. You're good to go. But yeah, we tapped into this and we looked at this and combed through it, fine-tooth comb, and pulled a lot of inspiration from it, the program, the size of everything, the relationship, and you'll see that in the final floor plan. We also took the book that Chief also mentioned, and I just returned it, so it's back, it's safe. Took a lot of the Milton Barn inspiration that's around here, looked at all the detailing, all of the materials and the different relationships between them. And then we also looked at the crabapple area and the vernacular that's there as well, and incorporated some of those design elements in the final aspect. And one thing that we also tried to incorporate was a little bit more of a modern touch in some of the elements, cleaner lines, larger exaggerated elements, and you'll see some of those in the final imagery. So we took all of this, the sketch, the images, site visits and our experiences, and all the meeting with Chief and staff and Rob and everyone from his staff, and collecting all of these opinions, and got to work started doing the nice color drawings and the pretty 3D stuff in the computer. And this is only a handful of what we've done. We brought in a lot of internal team members to help develop this. So this is just process images of how we got to the final stage. So this is kind of the result. Is there's one large bay area and then a parking lot to the west end where we are creating 3 entrances, 3 sides to the building that front each end of the street. You can kind of see from this perspective that there is a front door for every element of this building. So over here on Providence, it's where the fire trucks service and any public entrance, it's all right here off there, off Providence. And then over here off Birmingham, that's where it's an exit only for fire trucks, but it still has the appearance of a front entrance. Wanted to also demonstrate the engineers that have stepped up to the plate. This is a really developed site plan, and you can see that we're utilizing almost every square inch of the site. And if you guys had any questions on this, happy to answer it. So this was the final resulting plan. On the left side, we've got the administration portion where there's offices, the community room, which also is a emergency responder room, reception, and then the day room opens up to the kitchen. That's exclusive for the firefighters and everyone that's there. The bunks just south of it, and then the apparatus bay, which is a very large portion of it, separates it out. And the uniqueness of it actually is really close to the original sketch from Chief. Is kind of like the result of it. Detailed drawings, you can kind of see how the apparatus bay is central to it. And I'm looking at the north elevation just to the right of it, where you've got a barn-styled element. That's where the offices are. It all kind of blends together, but then again, it also distinguishes itself and ties all of those modern farm elements together. Same thing with the west and east elevations. There's always some sort of frontage and uniqueness to it that tips its hat to a modern farm style. But the west entrance is sort of like the air quote main entrance. That's the public entrance where the CARES offices are and the reception. And so here we can kind of see the massing of it now has color, texture. It's a soft white color with some, pops of color that help bring out some of that modern look and the massing with it. And then the perspectives here. So we start off, the top image is the front entrance. We also have a memorial garden that they asked us to kind of incorporate, and that's what's to the left of it. And you can see that some of the elements that we're using, this vertical lap siding on this barn element, also helps distinguish between that modern siding and what an old barn kind of does as well. Kind of walking through it. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to jump back into the staff analysis. Let's start with the site and landscape. So I'm just going to go through each slide. This is the abbreviated version of the staff analysis. I know you have a copy of the full one. But beginning with building setbacks, this plan meets the required setback for that per the site plan as well as the plat. You have a 60 front setback abutting Providence Road, and then a 40 feet setback fronting Birmingham Highway, and then 2 The right side, which is the east of the property line, that's the side yard setback, and that's 25 feet. As for the parking spaces, there are 22 parking spaces total, 20 of which are regular parking spaces and 2 are handicap spaces. And I've indicated here in stars the location of the parking spaces. So 18 to the northwest and then 2 to the north and south of the building. As far as landscape, there are several 10-foot wide landscape islands in the parking area. A total of 46 trees to be planted around the property. So this includes different specimen from maple, oak to dogwood and cherry trees. And then the required canopy coverage for this amount of lot or size is 40%. However, they are proposing 48% tree coverage, which exceeds the coverage for that site. As far as lighting, there's no lighting proposed or have been identified in the site plan. There's already existing street lights along Providence Road and Birmingham Highway. This will provide actually ample lighting enough for safety and visibility at night. Use area. So the proposed dumpster is located in the southeast corner of the building and is enclosed with gate and walls, and the materials used for gate and walls complements or compatible with the materials used in the principal building. Then, of course, Joey mentioned about the location of the underground detention pond, which is under the parking spaces. And according to plan, it's a perforated underground detention system. And as far as the building and architecture analysis, as Chief Gates said, the overall design elements of the fire station complements the surrounding area, which is rural. That's what we like. The architectural style is compatible with neighboring development, not necessarily mimicking the styles of these homes and any development, but it's sort of like more unique, but you have that farm style element. Let me just, little error here. All right. As far as the building size, we mentioned earlier it's 11,000 square feet, and then at 222 square feet outdoor storage. Combined, that's still within the limit of 20,000 square feet. So we're good on the building size. As far as orientation, you can see it's 360. The building is oriented to a public street. The entrance faces a public street, and then the driveways are perpendicular to the street. As far as the height, the total height is 24 feet, and that's from the average finished grade to the bottom of the roof eaves. And then lastly, the scale, which I'm going to show more here. So as you can see, so there are changes in details, patterns, or materials for every 80 feet of building exterior wall. So what that means is if you measure each of this section, the exterior wall, every 80 feet, you'll see some significant difference as far as the materials change, you know, so far like details like projection, recess, and things like that. Then moving over to the materials. There's 4 types of materials. Of course, you have the water table, which is stone veneer, board and batten siding. There's also vertical siding and a varied lap siding. That's the horizontal siding that you see on the plan. As far as the roof, predominantly is gable style with hip roof in some areas and shed roof over porches. We check the windows. All windows are double hung sash windows with 2/2 light pattern. And as far as architectural features, it includes columns, posts, brackets, transoms over doorways, side lights, recesses, and projection. These are the elements that are very unique in the rural Milton overlay. Facade colors. You've seen all of that in here. I'll just repeat it again. You have a combination of white, gray, bronze, and then, of course, for a contrast, you have the red color for bay doors and fall barn door trims. And they have identified 2 types of exterior wall lighting. And then lastly, our recommendation is for approval with only one comment, which is when they get to a point where they have to do the signage, that needs to be applied. They need to submit an application separately, and we'll review it as well separate. There's an ordinance that specific to sign. So that's it. Any question for me and Joey? And of course, Chief is here, and also Rob. Thank you.
Just out of my own curiosity, where is the nearest residence to the proposed building?
Okay. Yeah.
So right behind the station, there is like a care home. It's been there for forever. And then on the Birmingham side, there is a vet. And
Animal
then
hospital, yeah.
across from us, there's a new subdivision that's being built. And then I think there's another one that's being built there. And then I think now you got to go on Providence a little bit before you start hitting established neighborhoods.
Are there any other questions for staff or for the applicant? No? Okay. I will open up for public comment at this time, if anyone in the audience has any.
We have none.
None, okay. Anyone in the audience care to say anything? No? Okay. I will close public comment, and then I will call for discussion on the application with the board. Any discussion? No?
Not really. No, it looks great.
I just have a couple comments,
Okay.
okay?
Take it.
So the one comment I did have, and this is more of the site plan, is there a reason why the sidewalk, there's an existing sidewalk that comes up to the or to the roundabout, but then it stops and it doesn't carry along, was it Providence or is that Birmingham? Yeah, Providence Road. Is there a reason why?
Is that it?
So on the site plan, it just shows the 10-foot asphalt sidewalk stopping essentially. And then obviously there's the connection to, I just didn't know, I just was under the impression that all new development was supposed to put in a sidewalk for the perimeter of the property. No?
So it
I mean,
might-
that's just a question.
Oh, you're saying it stops right here.
It does. Mhm.
Okay, we'll make sure that that is visible. The last iteration, and this one might be old, that there was a perimeter sidewalk.
Again, it was just a question. I don't,
Yeah.
that'd be more for staff, I guess, with the review and the other thing is kind of goes hand in hand with that is the concrete walkway and sidewalk from the main entrance going to that kind of semicircle. Is that required? Is there a lot of walk up?
Rob, you want to speak for the sidewalk part?
Like, do you have a lot of people walk up to a firehouse, right? You know?
I wouldn't expect it, but I do believe, we talked about this in the design process, if we're referring to that sidewalk connection from the top left of the picture.
Correct.
To the parking lot.
Yeah, correct.
My understanding is that was a code requirement.
Is that
we
right?
try to, we're obviously not expecting many walk-ups, but we still want to provide that in lieu of walking through the grass
Got it. Okay.
from the sidewalk to the parking lot.
Yeah, again, small petty comments. It just,
But we're also moving our fire protection division.
uh-huh.
We're gonna have probably some builders and stuff.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you. And I think the only other really comment I had architecturally speaking was the west elevation. Is I know that the animal hospital across the street, I got to be honest with you, I think this, the chief is correct. This does represent Milton, right? The feel and the look of, and the culture. And the presentation was exemplary, by the way. I mean, this is kind of what we want to see from the board. So good job for
Makes
you
our
guys
job easy.
for doing that.
Thank you.
Was just maybe popping in some dormers or something like that. I feel like that's going to be a long run of just a metal roof on that west elevation, and that is the most prominent elevation seen from that roundabout. And it's just a low-lying pitch where you've got those false shutters. I guess that's where the restrooms and stuff are going to, or the restrooms and stuff are going to be for the firemen. Maybe a dormer or two on there just to kind of break up that long plane of roof line that you're going to see there. Other than that, that was really my only recommendation for that. Everything else to me looks really good. The colors, the materials. I'm assuming these are y'all's as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I missed that part. So this is kind of like the almost fire as you read it.
Mm-hmm.
The apparatus bay and the buffer. So, that ledge stone.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting right here. This is close to the. Okay, it's going to be a little bit darker. It's the wrong sample. They say. All fiber cement.
Yeah.
So a lot of architectural detail. Long lasting. Galvanized.
Yep.
The metal roof. Traditional. All looking.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional barn.
Okay. Yeah, no, look, thank you for presenting further on that. So that's really, I think that's really kind of all I had.
Okay.
Was there any other discussion on that or no? Okay.
I'd like to make a comment. It's a beautiful building. I'm excited to see it go in, and I think it'll be received very well. My only comment on the vegetation, there's a lot of like landscape kind of in the parking area. And the trees that were spec'd, I don't think any of them were evergreen. Is that correct? And I would just like to see something that has leaves on it, and even in the winter. And that was my only comment, just to soften maybe the expanse of everything. I think it would be a nice look.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Nope. No? Okay. So with that, I guess we can make a recommendation.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm so, I guess I can start with making a recommendation that Ms. Jackson said as far as maybe adding some non-deciduous trees. I don't think, do we need to specifically point where those are or just maybe try to incorporate those? We're already exceeding the tree canopy,
coverage,
so
yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to swapping some of those out, right? With,
Okay.
but, so we'll make a motion to add some non-deciduous trees. I believe that's the correct term, or evergreen?
Evergreen, yeah.
Greens, yeah.
And then I'm not going to say, I'll say a recommendation to explore adding dormers on the west elevation. I don't think that's something that for me, I would personally die on the sword for. It just would be nice as a added feature, but is everyone kind of okay with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that because it is kind of circling that roundabout. Obviously, you're paying attention to where you're going, but it is one of that thing you're going to see that west elevation as you're circling that roundabout
Correct.
constantly. So I agree with the
And
Having a
the,
little bit of definition there.
yeah, and the view that we have of this right now, it's very, like, you're seeing the whole
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it doesn't look as long when
Okay.
you're at that elevation.
Big corner.
No, I think
It's a big corner.
y'all did a great job of showing
Mhm.
kind of different perspectives on there. Again, like I said, this is a very good presentation. You're kind of giving us all the angles and really making it easy to do this. So, but then I guess the other question is this is a courtesy review, but if we go ahead and we just say approve or approval, do they need to come back for a final review?
Yes.
Oh, so no matter what.
So just make a motion to submit the feedback that you have, because we're going to present that to the council.
Okay.
And then we'll work with the architect and see if we can incorporate your comments, especially as the landscape and the dormers, and then we'll come back in the May meeting to show those. And
Okay.
then we'll do the final approval.
Okay.
We're going to be giving a very similar presentation next Monday night to work session to
So
council.
this is practice.
We'll be incorporating your feedback and their feedback
Got it.
into your resubmittal next month.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good, good. So let's do that then. And I will make a motion to recommend adding some non-deciduous trees in lieu of some of the other deciduous trees. Exploring the option of putting, single dormers on the west elevation roof line. And then also to look into the sidewalk along Providence Road and whether or not that's a requirement. And so I'll make that motion. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Very proud of that one, guys. All right. Moving on. What's that? Mhm. Well, that's the letter of intent. So. All right, 6B, courtesy reviews, V24-051335 Arnold Mill Road. Let's see, the applicant is Robert J. Moore. And Michael, if you can give us the background on this one, please.
Absolutely. Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
The address is 13355 Arnold Mill Road in a second parcel ID, 22-348-00-945-0708. There are 4 parts to this variance. To allow 4 existing accessory structures to be located in front of a proposed single-family home, to reduce the 25-foot minimum side yard to 12.4 feet adjacent to the east property line for existing wood deck, to reduce the existing barn housing animals distance requirement from 100 feet to 21.7 feet adjacent to the east property line, and finally, to reduce the existing barn housing animal distance requirement from 100 feet to 45.8 feet, also adjacent to the east property line. And I'll summarize those more thoroughly as we continue. Here is an aerial showing both properties. So the applicant is currently going through the process where he will have to have a minor plat, but he's waiting until the variance decision before moving forward with that. The property is zone AG1 agriculture and located in the rural Milton overlay district. Site plan analysis showing this as 2 combined tracts. One is 9 acres and one is 10 acres, but when the minor plat is completed, it'll be 19 acres total. The length is 1,458 feet with a width of 843 feet. The front setback is 60 feet, side 25, and rear is 50. So as you can see in pink, that is where they're proposing to build their new single-family home. And I'll just rattle through the variances at hand. So again, proposed existing single-family home, and any structure located in front needs a variance to be located in front of the single-family home. The first one is the horse run shed 1 located here, horse run shed 2 in dark green, and then horse run shed 3 in purple. And here's the covered deck, which needs a side setback variance. And right here are the 2 stables, both housing animals, and the shed is also in front of the primary structure, but that does not house animals. So it just follows the variance to allow an accessory structure in front of the single-family home variance. So here's some more background information on the property. The applicants bought the properties in 2015, two separate parcels of 9.9 acres and 9.1 acres on Arnold Mill Road. The applicant previously combined both parcels, totaling 19 acres through Fulton County. However, during this process of submitting the new single-family home, it was brought to staff's attention that they went through Fulton County to do this, but never actually did a City of Milton minor plat. So a community development approved minor plat will be required prior to the certificate of occupancy of the new single-family home. And the applicant is waiting until the final variance decisions by the BZA before submitting their minor plat application. Some additional background work per the Fulton County aerial and checking the community development permitting archives. Staff included the following years of structures were built without a community development approved permit: 2 horse-run sheds, the existing deck, and the 2 horse stables. And the applicant is currently working with staff, the chief building official, on submitting retroactive building permits to make the structures conforming if the BZA grants these variances. And I wanted to point out the applicant received electrical permits through the community development department for the 2 stables in 2017 and 2022. And the applicant details as a letter of intent, he thought he did not need a building permit for the stables and only an electrical permit was sufficient from speaking to other farmers in the area. Now to the side photos. This is a view to the east and view to the west. View to the north of the property and view to the south across Arnold Mill Road. Here's a view from the street, and this is the primary barn, and no variance is needed for this. And here's another photo of the main barn on site. Here is Horse Run Shed 1, Horse Run Shed 2, Horse Run Shed 3, and the covered deck, seeking the side setback variance. Here is the existing shed. And no horses live in this. I believe it's tack and feed and other farm-related equipment. And here's stable 1 right here if you follow my cursor. And then stable 2 is right behind it. And the horses are really friendly on site. And you can see the gap, it's pretty close, but it just delineates that there are 2 separate structures. Here are letters of support, and I want to point out most of the variances are along the east property line, and they have support from all bordering east property line properties. Support from 13365 Arnold Mill Road, 13415, 13425, and 13325 Holly Road. And here are the letters of support. And here is the site plan again. Do you have any questions for staff before we call up the applicant?
I have a question for you, Michael. So this is more for the BZA than it is for us, but I'm just curious. So these are going for variances based on the hypothetical property lines of what it would be with the properties merged, correct?
That is correct. So it's a chicken and an egg.
Yeah.
So it's chicken and an egg. You can record a minor plat with nonconformities. So we talked to the city attorney what the best route to go was.
Okay.
And he said variances first, and staff's going to make a recommendation that a minor plat is completed prior to the CO of the house. So everything will be conforming prior to them going inside the house.
Okay, so bearing the approval of the variances, everything would be copacetic once the minor plat is recorded, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I was
Variances.
just asking the chicken.
No,
and
it's a good
egg.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Great report, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, then at this time, we'd like to call up the applicant. You can come up here and tell us a little bit about this.
I have the, I do. Thank you. Hi, I'm sorry. My husband is Robert Moore and he is out of town, so he's fishing in New Orleans. And so I'm happy to answer whatever questions I can. He actually bought the farm prior to us getting married, so I'm kind of coming in the back end of it. All I know is I want this gorgeous farmhouse, right overlooking the lake property. We did go through the DOT. We have a separate driveway. So we're not even going to use the farm driveway, where the horses and the trailers and the boards come in. It is separate. You can't really, when you're in the house, you can't even see anything else around. And it really is sitting to the left of every, all of the barn structures when you pull into the property. That's why I think I was a little confused about it was in the front yard. I'm like, but it's really not in the front yard. And he's owned the property since 2016. The girls ride horses. We have the covered deck is actually helps me because when I want to watch the girls in the arena, it keeps the sun off of you. We don't have anybody else really who utilizes it. It's just really me with a glass of wine at night or in the daytime, looking over at it. He's really hoping that, his dream was to build the house on the property and keep the animals there. And that's kind of our plan. We do travel quite a bit and have homes in different areas. And this was going to be the home base for the kids, the future grandkids, all of that good stuff.
Great. Thank you.
And the plan is to build a 6,500 square foot farmhouse, look with the attached garage, carriage style, which is what we're kind of seeing throughout Milton. So definitely keeping that same spirit, white, very traditional.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no questions for staff or the applicant, I will open up for public comment.
No public comment.
No public comment. All right. Anyone in the audience care to elaborate? No? Okay, great. Then I will close public comment and open it up for discussion with the board. No discussion?
I don't have anything.
No? Okay. Seeing no discussion, then I guess, do we make, we
need a recommendation.
recommendation?
Yeah,
Okay.
approval, denial,
Okay.
or
Okay.
Recommendation to approve all changes.
Okay. Okay, so then seeing no discussion, can I get a recommendation?
I'll make a recommendation. I recommend on agenda item B of the courtesy reviews, 13355 Arnold Mill Road and parcel number 2, ID number 22-348-00945-07808. Excuse me, that's a mouthful. Recommend that do I need to do these individually, Michael?
No,
Or
you
can I
just say
just
4
group them all
parts.
together? I recommend that all 4 parts of these variance requests recommend approval to the city. It's one of those things you really don't want to jeopardize the integrity of a property that was meant to be a horse farm. So that would be my recommendation if there's anything else.
No, I agree with you. That's kind of the staple of Milton, right? I mean, you've got 20 acres of land, you've got horse farms. That's just kind of what draws people to the city. So I agree with you on that. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second, okay. So I've got a motion by Mr. Robinson and a second by Ms. Danella. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Congrats. Good luck.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
again, I'm sure. For that house.
All right, so moving on. Courtesy reviews, 6C, V24-06, 2455 Bethany Bend. Michael, if you can, please give us some background on this one.
Absolutely. The address is 2455 Bethany Bend, and the following variance is being requested. Part 1, to reduce the 50-foot minimum rear yard to 42.3 feet adjacent to the rear property line and reduce the 25-foot minimum side yard to 5.3 feet adjacent to the east property line for existing detached garage. Part 2, to reduce the existing barn house animals distance requirement from 100 feet to 0.1 feet adjacent to the east property line. And the last part is to reduce the existing barn house animals distance requirement from 150 feet to 80.8 feet from an occupied structure adjacent to the east property line. And this last variant is across the property line to the neighbor's single-family home. And I'll expand on that later in the presentation. Here's an aerial of the property. Follow my cursor. This is the barn. This is the detached garage, and this is the home that is less than 150 feet from the barn. The zoning is AG1 and located in the rural Milton overlay district. The size is 2.3 acres with a length of 398 feet and a width of 299 feet. The front setback is 60 feet, side 25, and the rear is 50. Here's a more detailed site plan that's zoomed in showing the variances at hand. So here's the barn going from 100 to 0.1 feet. And here's the 80.8 foot distance to the corner of the single family home, not meeting the 150 foot distance requirement. And here is the existing detached garage, not meeting the 25 foot side. And then the 42.3 distance, not meeting the 50 foot rear. Some additional background information. The homeowner bought the property in 2020 and it's 2.3 acres in size. Per the applicant's letter of appeal, the barn, detached garage, a single family home have been on the property for approximately 30 years. While no horses currently reside in the barn, the applicant plans to have horses on the property in the future. Applicant is proposing a minor plat that would create 2 separate AG1 lots. And it is the community development's policy to not approve a minor plat when there are non-conforming structures on the property. Covered that actually the variance prior. And I actually pulled this up to show you the proposed minor plat, just the split. As you can see, this will be 1.3 acres and this will be just over 1 acre, the property over here. Here are the site photos. This is a view to the east and view to the west. View to the north across Bethany Bend and a view to the south. Here is a view of the house and the detached garage in the back. And here is a view of the pasture land in the front yard from just a little bit in front of the house. And the barn will be out here on the right, it's outside the frame. Here's a view of the house and the detached garage, a back view. And more photos of the detached garage. And here's the barn. I wanted to give you a few shots showing the neighbor's property and then the existing barn. And I'll slowly make my way up the hill and you'll see in the photos. You can see there's a pretty big drop in grade from the neighbor's side to where the single family home and the barn are. I would estimate 15 to 20 feet. And here's the house at 2465 Bethany Bend, which needs 150 feet away. And here's another shot farther in the yard. It kind of shows the trees block it a little bit as well, but you can truly see that drop in grade to the neighbor's property. And here is the site plan once again. Any questions for staff before I call up the applicant?
I have a question, Michael. So you answered one question because we didn't have in our packet where the lot delineation was going to be for those two. Prior to a minor plat approval, do they have to get septic approval from the state or from the county?
So when they stamp the plat,
Mhm.
it'll have septic approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't show us like where the septic tank is, right?
So essentially, I don't speak for Fulton County Environmental Health, but I think it's saying, all right, you have enough acreage to put a septic field, but not necessarily this is
Right.
where the septic lines are going to go.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Any other questions for staff?
And this was brought to staff because they wanted that extra plat.
Correct. Yes. I denied the minor plat and started all this. Yes.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, okay, seeing none. Thank you, Michael. This time I'll ask the applicant to come forward, please.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, Chair, Council, Board. And as Michael stated earlier, it's a pretty simple project here, just splitting the lot into two conforming lots. And the variances requested, seem to, as we talked about, Michael, like Milton was sort of the wild, wild west before it was the city of Milton, and things were built across all of these setbacks. And so the barn, the first thing in question, again, it exceeds that setback on the east side of the property. It's been there 30 plus years, and I know that Andrew, the owner, wants to keep that for the future enjoyment of having horses for he has 5 kids, it sounds like. So I know they would love that. And also the porch or decking off the pool. Obviously, that's sort of a part of the enjoyment of that structure that also predates the city. Early 90s was when that was constructed, as well as finally the what am I missing other than the detached garage. Again, the house itself, there's not really another logical place to put a garage on the property. And so if you move it to the west side, you'd be creating the same kind of setback issue with the proposed plat. And he wants to continue to be able to enjoy that as well. So hopefully it's pretty simple. And I think one of the things that I thought was encouraging about this is the new plat itself isn't creating any of these setback issues, right? They're all sort of on the east side of that property, and south side sort of pre-exist the proposed plat.
That's very well put. Make sure you bring that up at the, yeah. No, because it's a good point. It's a good point. So.
Any questions? Or?
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
I do have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it looks like you have one letter of support from the neighbors across the street.
Oh, no, that's the next item.
Am I looking at the wrong one?
I wasn't aware that I received one yet.
Yeah,
Unless
he hasn't
they
had any
sent it
letters of support
directly.
yet.
This is 6C though.
Oh, excuse me. I should have put
Oh.
6D. That is my typo. That's for
Never
the next
mind.
gentleman. I
Okay.
Wondering
apologize.
who sent a letter in the last hour.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
apologize for that. Yeah, it should have been 6D.
You lucked out.
Yes.
But yeah, I believe he's been working to get letters. I was
Okay.
before him, but
We're working on that.
Because I know that is definitely something that they're going to want to see. It helps.
I'm aware. I think there was some issues with at least one of the neighbors doesn't even live here. And
Okay.
so there was trying to get in touch with them and getting them to sign out of state. And then I think there's just been kind of in passing or whatnot. But it sounds like from talking to Andrew that there shouldn't be really much resistance because these structures have sort of been there for quite a long time. So.
Okay.
Have you communicated with the house that's closest to that barn?
I haven't, but Andrew has stated to me that I think, knows that person and has the best relationship with that person, from what I understand. And so he told me, quote, I shouldn't have a problem at all getting support from them.
I think that's probably going to be your best bet, is to try to get support from that particular house.
Okay.
Personally, for the barn.
The east side of the property
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you.
All right.
So at this time, I will open up for public comment.
do we have public comment? Yes, we do.
We
With
do.
One,
Okay,
one
great.
person. Yes.
Could you please come on up, just state your name and your address?
Hello, council members, and I see a familiar face. My name is John Crookston. I am the neighbor that lives on the west side of the property. My address is 2425 Bethany Bend. I live at the adjoining property on the west side, not the east side, where all the variances are going to happen. The variances, as stated, 3 parts, I have no issues with any of those, but I have some concern about the plans for possibly what's next as the neighbor on the other side. Hearing about horses, this is the first thing I've heard about horses on this property. 1 acre, if you're going to divide it from 2.3 down to 1 acre on the side I'm closest to. Across the street from us is a much larger property where they have, I believe, 2 horses, and it's probably 4 acres. So I have concern with the acreage and how many horses are we talking? That would be a concern of mine. Secondly, I purchased the adjoining property in November of 2020. At the time, we had significant storm runoff issues coming from the property that's getting the variance. I was fortunate that I was able to get someone in to deal with that water as it came across to us. And I have put in a commercial grade drainage system behind my house that handles all that. And I did that at my own expense. I was fortunate enough to get somebody who could do it for me at a cost that was affordable to me. And that problem has been resolved. I have some concern about okay, this is the first I've heard about dividing the property, which that's not so much a concern that I have personally. My bigger concern is what's coming next, if anything. Okay, horses, okay. Another home on the property. We have a well on our property line, and in January there was a surveyor. The first I knew that changes were coming was, I think it was in January, a surveyor showed up and was on site, and he needed to get onto my property to a catch basin to do a mark for his surveying. And he asked me, and we have a well right on the property line. And the surveyor's comment to me at the time was, well, whatever happens, they cannot build within 100 feet of a well. And we do have a well. It is currently, we don't use it right now. We have plans to use it. It's actually got hookups to our water supply to our house, which are turned off. We plan on possibly using this well for irrigation, for gardening, and just for the 1 acre that we have. Ours is 1.2 acres. So long story short, I don't object to the variances that you're discussing today, but I'm wondering what's the plan, if there is one at this point, beyond things with horses, for dividing it into 1 acre and 1 acre, what's going on, what's happening down the road? And maybe that's not even on the radar as far as the owner goes. I don't know. So my concerns are that if they're going to build something next to where I live, what kind of variances are they going to be asking for at that time, knowing that, one, we have a well, you can't build within 100 feet of a well, and this and that and the other. Currently, the property is used, they're a wonderful family, they have 5 wonderful kids, they're a lot of fun, they have dirt bikes and they ride their dirt bikes around the property, and they're out there chasing each other. They have a big time, they have a great time, and we love that. But I'm just wondering I mean, and maybe I need to have a more open and frank conversation with my neighbor.
Yeah,
But the drainage issue was a serious issue, and I know in Fulton County, I would not want to see something done in the future where, okay, we fixed this once, and it was a significant runoff problem, stormwater runoff. If something happens that they decide to do something to develop the property moving forward, we're going to have a look at that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Those are all valid concerns. I mean, I can tell just from the site plan, looking at it, that all water flows towards your property.
Yeah, and if you look at the topographic map, it flattens out. The closer you get to our property, that's where it's flat.
Yep.
So the water comes down, and then I think there may have been at one time on that flat part where the topographic map seems to get very flat, that may have been a pond at one point that got filled in.
Yeah, I've noted on the plans, it shows a manhole, it shows a shed there, which I'm assuming is where you're referring to as the well.
It's a small little structure.
Mhm.
Maybe it's 5 by 8 or something.
So unfortunately for us, is we can't really dictate any of kind of the concerns that you're bringing up. I would recommend, though, that you do speak with the neighbor and try to talk through those things, and then as well as come to the BZA meeting also, where this is going to kind of be heard. So as far as the horses, I do know that they are allowed at AG1. I'm just not quite sure how many.
Correct. Do you mind if I jump in? So there is no maximum amount of horses per lot in AG1.
Is that right?
Correct.
All right.
There are some rule of thumbs about, how much pasture lane you should have per horse, but per zoning code,
Mhm.
there is not a maximum amount.
Right.
And if I can touch on another point he made, the stormwater runoff cannot increase past existing conditions when he builds that house. So all the permits and everything he has to go through, our site development engineer will review it thoroughly, I assure you. And so basically the runoff cannot increase from what's existing now. And the last point is, as you pointed out, environmental health requires a 100-foot radius around the well. And that's not through us. He wouldn't be getting a variance or what you mentioned.
Right, because we're talking about the eastern side of the property for all the variances.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, but we
none of
wouldn't.
this variance deal with us at all.
Yeah, the buffer's not City of Milton for the
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. But I would say, bring this up with, have a conversation with the neighbor. I would imagine that the future plans are probably to develop, right? Milton is kind of a hot area, and by subdividing that, if not now, at some point, I'm sure that's something that is probably on the radar. But I do know that, as doing work and building in the city of Milton is that they are very thorough on stormwater and those things, and are very conscientious of its citizens and their concerns. And so for me, I have no doubt that they will at least steer you in the right direction and be on your behalf, or act on your behalf as far as mitigating any kind of future concerns that you may have with this project. So thank you. Okay. Any other public comment?
No.
No. Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment, and I'll open it up for board discussion. I think he was talking about this one right here. That's a good point. So Ms. Gagney was pointing out that there's a well on there. I'm assuming since that's pre-existing, the 100-foot wouldn't need to be a variance for that as well?
Well, it's nothing through us.
Okay,
It's
so just through
environmental
Fulton
health,
County.
Fulton County.
Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't touch it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good point. Yep. Okay. Any other discussion? No. Okay. I would just say, recommend getting with the neighbors. Obviously, letters of support are a big deal. You've heard some concerns of the adjacent neighbor tonight, and so obviously he's got some valid concerns too. And so I really think that would be my only comment as far as recommendation to the BZA is just to discuss with neighbors. But I think that goes without being said, right? So do we need to make a motion on that recommendation, or?
Yes, please.
All right. So I would recommend approval of the variances to the BZA for, which one are we at? For 6C V24-06 2455 Bethany Bend, recommending that the individual, the property owner, discusses with neighbors and tries to for letters of support for that. So,
I'll second.
all right. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Good luck. All right. Moving on. Oh, this is yours. That's why I was getting confused. I got two of them. All right. 6D, V24-07 13268 Bethany Road. Mr. Kevin Weaver is the applicant, and Michael, if you will again give us some information on this one. I'm assuming this goes,
Yes.
Okay.
Should be 6 feet. My apologies.
okay,
This actually came in at 4:30, so
okay.
it was a quick rendition. But we always encourage last minute support because it counts all the same.
Agree.
Address is 13268 Bethany Road, and the request is to allow the lot coverage for an AG1 zone property that fronts a public street to increase from maximum allowed 20% to 24.53% for proposed home addition, pool house, and pool. Here is an area of the property. Here's the zoning showing AG1 and R2 zoning to the west. The size is 1.12 acres. The length is 246 feet and the width of 350 feet. Applicable setbacks are 60-foot front, 25 sides, and 50 rear. I usually go into the site analysis, but I want to start with background information because a lot is happening here. So, applicant bought the property in September of last year. The existing lot coverage on site is 27.73%. The proposed lot coverage is 24.53%, a reduction of 3.2% and 1,569 square feet. Proposed additions, new home addition with a master bedroom, new pool, spa, and they're doing synthetic turf around the pool. Originally it was pool decking, but the applicant, after meeting with staff, changed that to the synthetic turf, which drains like natural grass, does not count as impervious. He's doing a new front porch and a new rain garden for stormwater quality. Proposed removal is remove the entire left driveway, remove the existing carport, and remove the existing concrete patio. So this sets up to the picture I'm about to show you. Actually, I first want to show this is the entire driveway that's being removed, which is a big amount of impervious surface. But here's a zoomed in version that better shows everything. So this is the carport to be removed, the existing driveway on the left side to be removed, the existing concrete pad here to be removed, and they're adding a front porch, adding the master bedroom, and they're turning the existing carport here into the pool house. And as I mentioned earlier, here's the pool and the synthetic turf that will drain like natural grass. Does not count towards impervious surface. Here's a view to the east and west. View to the south across Bethany Road, and a view to the north. Here's a front view of the house. And here's the carport that'll be enclosed for the pool house. And I'll get to the elevations here momentarily. And this is the carport. It doesn't have a foundation. This is just being removed by the applicant. And here's a large portion of the driveway to be removed by the applicant. And this is a approximate line showing where it ends to kind of visualize where that driveway is going to end. Here's the one letter of support received this afternoon from 13268 Bethany Road, across the street. And the applicant informed me he's working and getting support of all board and property owners. And here are the elevations. And there's also renderings showing the pearl white color they picked for the house. So essentially they're painting the whole house pearl white, adding board and batten, and the existing brick will be painted the pearl white color. It looks like they're having a wood style shutter as well, which you can see Another elevation. Yeah, this one right here really shows it. We didn't get a running over the front, but there are elevations if you want me to go back to that. And here's the last shot showing the aerial of the pool. And this is the pool house, former carport, master bedroom, and then the front porch addition that extends the house. And this is a synthetic turf detail showing what that entails, but essentially it'll be reviewed by the site development engineer to confirm it drains properly, but it's a pretty standard procedure. Any questions for staff before I call out the applicant?
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Go ahead and call up the applicant, please.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Weaver, applicant for Bethany Road. So we're requesting a variance for the impervious surface area. It's currently 27.73% percent coverage, and it's been like that for 55 years. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the section of the driveway that Michael showed earlier and leave the left side. And removing other concrete areas, courtyard. We're going to add a front porch, a pool, master bedroom, and we're going to change it's got hip roofs now, so we're going to add gable roofs to make it more conforming to what today's architecture is. We're going to add a rain garden, which will help with the water flow. We spoke with a couple of the neighbors today. The main one is the one that it sits lower elevation. We don't have their support yet, but it was their 47th anniversary today. So they spent an hour and a half with me today talking about this. So I have a good feeling that I'm going to get their support. They wanted to look at the plans and colors and the whole thing. So I sent that to them. Assuming we will get it by next week. It's an odd shaped pie lot. So if you were to tear it down and rebuild another house, the homes that you're building now are 6,000 plus square feet. We feel the best use of this is a remodel and addition for the existing lot because you still have your lot set or build back setbacks. There is front elevation. I don't know if you can see that. So that's the front porch we're adding. The bottom, it'll be lifted up off the ground. So we'll probably add some trim work that's not shown on these plans. And then the pool house, it's actually a garage / pool house. So the two left bays will be the 2-door garages. And then the right side will be the pool house. It'll have a fireplace, bar, sliding glass doors. And then the rear, it still has a rear back porch area that sits in front of the pool. And then you add a spa at the end of the pool. And then we gable all those roofs as well. And it'll be brick, it'll be hardy board and batten. And then it's like a wind's breath paint color. The pearl is the gutters. And then we'll do like a light gray. I think it's called dual gray for the shingle.
Okay, great.
Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
What are the pink squiggly marks on that last picture?
So going through review, they make you put a lot of things in bubbles so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
So this is probably some piece of a revised drawing. So that's what that's for.
It's a revision cloud.
Yeah, it helps
Yeah.
highlight what was
Because if you
changed.
don't, there's 900 revisions and nobody knows what anything is. So we put it in bubbles.
Just makes it easier.
Perfect. Well, I just have a comment. I drive by this house 4 times a day, and I'll be so glad to see it beautified.
Yeah, so it'll look completely different when we're done. I knocked on doors today. I talked to the older couple that was beside us, and those are the ones that spent an hour and a half with me. And then nobody else was home except for the neighbors across the street. They were more than happy to sign this. They moved into a renovated home that's just like this. So they look forward to seeing it changed as well. And then we add landscape and all that you don't see on these renderings, but
Yeah.
but we'll do it up
Plain
nice.
right now.
Yeah, I think you've done a good job. I mean, your letter of appeal was very well written. Gives us a good idea. It shows that you've tried to work to reduce the impervious surface. I would say with you removing that huge part of the existing driveway, there is a good bit of additional driveway in the rear where you're removing that old car shed that you could work with if you needed to. But I don't think that's really necessary considering that you're trying to reduce it and get it to where it is.
So there is some left that we could possibly remove to reduce it even more. But we also want additional parking back there. So we left it as is in case we need it. If we don't need it, we'll probably cut it out anyways, just to make it look better.
I would if it was now,
but
so I
I'm
don't
leaving
blame
it now just to get the approval. And then if we can cut it out later, we'll cut it out later. Because it'll look better with a cleaner edge anyways. So
Agree.
that's what our plan is. And this also brings like a different price point, right? Like all the new construction here is $2.5+ million. So if you completely gut and remodel this home with a pool and a pool house and everything that everybody wants at a lower price point, it helps new families get in as well at a lower price.
Very well said. Agree. Yeah, any other questions for the applicant?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling the BZA is probably going to ask, has the homeowner considered reducing the size of the pool to meet that
So
threshold?
the pool is about as small as we can get
Okay.
without making it like a plunge pool.
Okay.
So we did reduce it to the smallest size pool that's going to look right with this house. If we make it any smaller, it won't look right aesthetically, like from the back. So.
Sure. Okay.
Anything else?
I think
It's
any other
16 by
questions?
30 or 16 by 32 pool too. So
I just have a
It's a
feeling
sma-
that
it's a smaller
they're going to
pool.
ask if it's been considered.
we did consider it.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, so at this time, I will open up any public comment.
No public comment.
Officers, gentlemen? Okay.
They'll talk to me after the meeting. Next.
All right, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment, open it up for board discussion. I'm with you on that one. I feel like with the pervious grass, if the pool fills up, so even though they count the pool as impervious surface, if it fills up, it spills over into the impervious grass. It's just my thought on that. So I don't know if it really should count for that, but that's not for us to
Usually put an
decide. So
emergency drain.
Yeah.
My pool has an emergency drain.
an overflow, yeah.
Yeah, our site
That
development
goes to the
engineer-
rain garden.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? No? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion. Am I approving it? I'm approving to approve item 6D V24-07 as presented.
Perfect.
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion from Ms. Jackson and a second from Ms. Dianella. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, good luck. Thank you. All right, moving on, final reviews. Seven A, City of Milton Public Safety Complex, 13690 Highway 9. Jackie? I got hot in here.
Take it a little warm.
Comfortable, so it's probably fine.
All right, the subject site is a 3.67 acre lot located at 13690 Highway 9. The City of Milton Public Safety Complex comprises the Police Department, Municipal Court, and Fire Station 44. And just to give you a background, on July 12 of 2022, DRB approved a 6-foot tall steel fence with a rolling style gate. I'm going to show that to you shortly. To fully secure the rear parking area, the steel fence was fully installed, but excluding the gate. So just going back to the general information, this is a civic building site in Deerfield, and existing use is public and government facility. And our applicant, Deputy Chief Chris Ward, and also Chief of Police Griffin is here to answer some of the questions later, but they are requesting to review the proposed alternative gate that I'm going to show shortly. So this is just the aerial view of the map, the location of the public safety complex. Here's the original site plan that was submitted in 2022. The red line shows where the proposed fencing is going to go, and the dotted line in black is where the proposed future gate is going to be installed. So here's the 6-foot tall fence with rolling style gate that was approved previously by DRB. And they've installed the gate, so this is the existing conditions.
Okay, excuse me, can I interrupt? I'm sorry.
Okay, of course.
You said they installed the gate, but they haven't installed the gate. They've
No,
installed the
they've
fence.
The fence,
Got it,
minus
okay.
the gate, yep.
Okay.
And then, so they're proposing an alternative gate in lieu of that rolling style gate. And it's a mechanical barrier gate arm, which, you know, you've seen that, the tip of the gate rises in a vertical arc. It's decorated with a heavy-duty reflected markings. Typically, you see a white and red combination. And the purpose of this gate is, of course, to prevent unauthorized access to the property. And these are the two options that they've presented to us. You have alternative gate 1, and then, of course, the second one is alternative gate 2. And at this point, of course, we want the DRB to weigh in on this alternative. But here's what staff recommends. We're looking at option 1 because I think it's more, you know, just single. It's not too cumbersome like the second option, which is, yeah, it races up and down, and it looks like actually a fence as well. So this is a short presentation, and I'll answer any questions that you have. And we also have Deputy Chief Ward and Chief Police Griffin here to answer some of the questions. We don't have anything in the code that regulates this type of gate, especially in that area. So I think it's more of like, let's look at the design elements of this. Is it appropriate? Is it matching with the fence? So.
I have a question for you, Jackie. It says in our report, it says new request for option 1. It says in addition to the already approved gate. So this would be
This will be, it replaces
It
the
replaces.
original gate, yeah.
Okay, so, got it. So not in addition, but
Yep,
as an alternative.
as an
Okay,
alternative, yep.
okay.
Can I just have the backstory why the rolling gate was nixed?
Yes, actually, we have the chief here to answer that.
Okay.
He got up real quick.
Yeah. Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Deputy Chief Chris Ward, would clarify a little bit more in detail on this. Option 1 that DRB approved in 2022, that's the option we still want to go with. It was a 2-phased approach. Fence was built first, gate was going to be done second. When we went back for the contract for the second option, the price increased substantially outside of our current budget. So our plan is to, after tonight, go to council and ask for a budget increase. And if the plan would be, if we cannot make the budget increase for that rolling gate, would be here's an alternative option, knowing that we still would like to do the initial rolling gate, full security gate. But there were some things that popped up with our quoting of that gate. There were some grading issues where landscapers have to come in and kind of cut into the hill slightly to get the gate to roll into it. So that's where kind of some of the price increase happened. Inflation happened over 2 years. So this is just an alternative to where if we don't get budget increase, we have another option to meet budget but still get our gate.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I have a question for you. Obviously, you want the original gate. If by some reason they don't give you guys what you deserve as far as the increase, you want option 1 that's being presented to us over option 2?
So
Which is going to be safer in your opinion?
They're
And it's
both,
going to help eliminate the issue that you guys are having.
yes, sir. They both are going to serve the same purpose because within the gate arm, all you're stopping is vehicular traffic. You're not stopping the foot traffic. And if you've seen that building, the building's kind of backwards. So everyone comes into our police lot and we have a lot of court traffic. So we're trying to divert that traffic. We do have foot traffic. We have a lot of vehicular traffic. So by doing second option, we don't stop foot traffic because you can walk under it. As for your question of which of the two styles, we originally went to a fence company and said we wanted to do more of a wood, nice, like looking, more Milton-esque type thing. And they said it was too heavy. So these were the options they gave us for the distance that it has to cover across that driveway.
Right.
So we kind of got locked into these two different styles.
Okay.
But is the purpose to decrease foot traffic as well?
It is.
Okay.
But we cannot stop foot traffic for the current, where we're currently looking at with the budget that was approved 2 years ago.
Sure. But option one doesn't look like it would. stop.
Option one stops foot and vehicular. No, not this one. Sorry. I think you're option one. The original.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't all the high school kids walk by there?
Yeah.
To go to the back of the stadium?
That's what I was going to ask. Is
Yes.
this for Cambridge parking or in
No.
foot traffic?
No, it's.
I think it's just in
don't
general.
Students walk by there, the side of that building.
They do
Isn't there a
walk
back
by
entrance
it.
to Cambridge there?
They do walk by it to get to Cambridge. But this is the back police only lot and fire lot. So there's no actual civilian traffic that goes into this lot other than some occasional fire visitors, but we would have a call box. That's part of the quote to let them in. But this would divert everybody into the front of the building. And this has been a multi-phased approach. We put up signs that said, "Don't enter." No one looks at them. If you go down Cambridge High School Drive, whatever they actually name the road, there are signs like every 20 feet that says, front entrance, front entrance, front entrance. And people still come and they beat on our back door consistently.
Signs. Okay, great. Thank you. Any other comments, questions for the applicants?
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So is the parking lot, is it primarily like employee parking and people coming and going a lot in the area?
This rear lot that we're talking about is employee only, and it is heavily trafficked by mostly police officers and then fire trucks as they come and go.
Okay, because I know that from experience, those rolling gates, as much as I like that one, it takes a long time to get it open, especially that's a big opening. And if every time you have to come up there, it's like, you got to wait on the thing and then it's something to consider. But I like the way it looks better though, too.
There's issues like the option one we have here, which is just the single arm. We have it in Crooked Creek and it's constantly breaking. People are running
Maintenance.
into it. People, people with convertibles can fit under it. If you're trying to stop foot traffic and vehicular traffic, I feel like a solid gate that goes, but time-wise, you're right. It takes forever to open. I don't know what.
Yes, ma'am. We just like to provide, when we go to council, we like to provide what we want and multiple options for them to consider. So this is just the ask to provide them an alternative option.
Yeah.
Your original option one, was it going to be manual or motorized to open?
It's motorized.
Okay.
Is there any option to potentially make it a bifold door?
We tried that, but because of the
It was too
grade,
heavy.
you can't fold out because of the road. Folding in, the grade slopes up too much and you could just crawl underneath it. So it has to be a slide.
And option 2 was more expensive than the original, less expensive than the original.
The alternative gate option is within current budget, barely. The original one is a increase. I didn't mean to press that button.
I think you got more blockage with option 2. I don't like the way it looks.
No, it doesn't look.
I don't like the way the room look, frankly.
Unfortunately, what we found with these arm gates, and as a police officer, this isn't my business, but knowing about arm gates that much, but they don't really come in other colors. They have to be highly reflective so people can see them. So it's a little bit, they look different, I guess I could professionally say.
Shouldn't be standing there.
All right. Well, do we have any more questions Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. So I'll open for public comment.
We have none.
None? Anyone in the audience care to? Okay. Seeing none, I will close public comment, open up for board discussion. So unfortunately, I wish that we could recommend to council to increase the budget, but that's not in our privy. Especially after seeing that firehouse that's about to be built. But unfortunately, that's not for us to judge up here. To me, I think you made a valid point as far as the gate and slowing and opening, but I think it really in this situation, it's more of just a safety thing. Obviously, they're getting approached by people coming up, and they just shouldn't be, even with signs every 20 feet. So to me, for our servicemen and women, I feel like no matter what, we should have something there. So if it's just as simple as us approving a gate that doesn't have any protection. Yeah, architectural resemblance or regulation from the city, then for me, I would say recommend whatever they can get, option one or option two based on their budget if, they're not able to get that increase. So that would be my recommendation, but I'm open up
It's a
to.
function decision. It's not a.
Yeah,
design
I mean,
decision.
and you're right too. I know those things break all the time, right? But I'm assuming they would rather have something than nothing. So for me, instead of prolong, it's just, but that's just me, but this is a board. So any other discussion on that or?
I agree.
No?
Something's better than nothing.
Yes, I would think though, if the purpose is to reduce foot traffic, maybe leaning towards option two only because it seems a little more secure than one.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
aesthetically.
mean, could we not recommend option one or two?
I think you can too. I mean, what do you think as a board? You're more leaning toward option two? If that's the case, then, we can recommend that.
Are they about the same in cost, option 1 and 2? Okay. I mean, can we leave it at the discretion of the police
Budget.
department?
Yes,
or-
we can.
We can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
we can.
Okay.
Great.
So maybe just recommend, let's say, an approval for an alternative gate, and we'll just, let them
Yeah.
decide which options do they want.
Yeah, especially seeing that there's no
Yeah.
architectural standards
Yep.
or regulation on
Exactly.
it. So I don't see why that's, I
Okay.
think it's a valid point. So, okay. Can I get a recommendation?
I guess we're making a recommendation to
Approve the alternative.
approve
Mm-hmm.
the addition of a gate,
Alternative.
Yep.
alternative gate, pending that they don't get the approval for budget increase.
For the rolling gate.
Okay. And I will second that. All right, so we have a recommendation for Ms. Danella and a second from Mr. Warlick. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All right, good luck, gentlemen. Thank you for your service.
So
Great
somebody-
presentation, by the way.
So somebody needs to design better looking
Yeah, right.
gates.
Yeah,
Better-
I mean,
better artist, right?
aesthetically.
No, they're right. I mean,
On it.
those gates are the ones that open in and out
Yeah,
for
they're-
I
that
would
distance.
think, especially by a police department and a fire department, if they see an armed gate, people aren't going to be crawling under
Uh-huh.
there.
I agree.
Right.
I hope not.
Well,
They
you're
might get
right.
arrested if they.
I hope. All right. Thank you for your patience, sir. Moving on to our final review of the night is 7B 123 Total Fitness, 12874 Highway 9 North Road. Jackie, if you will give us a little bit of the background and then what we're here for today on this one, please.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our last item for tonight is a 123 Total Fitness. It's located at 12874 Highway 9 North. The size of this property is 1.36 acres. The zoning district is T5 or Transect 5 within the Deerfield Form-Based Code. Existing use is commercial. Our applicant, Mr. Ward, is coming in to request a additional review of the materials to the existing plan that was already approved by the Design Review Board on October 3, 2023. Here's the aerial map. It shows you the location of the 123 Total Fitness. And just a little bit of a background, this property is part of a 2.43 acre commercial area. This is an infill development within an existing master plan community already developed. So on October 3, 2023, the Design Review Board recommended approval of the building plan to construct a 2-story building with approximately 12,000 square feet. So the construction of the building is currently underway. But on March last month, the applicant requested an amendment to the approved building plan to add the following building materials. So before we go there, just going to show you the site plan, show you the location of the proposed building that's currently underway. It's going to show you some renderings of the south elevation, north elevation, west elevation, east elevation. So here are the summary of the additional scope of work. They're adding a staircase, which is located in the east and north elevation, as shown in the picture to the right. They're going to install wall-mounted gooseneck lighting, which is additional lighting from the previously approved lighting. They're also going to add metal roof awning, see in the east elevation, as well an exterior door. Then last is they're going to add roof access ladder. So just a little bit of description. The staircase will be black metal railing. The threads is raw/sealed concrete. It's going to be installed in the east elevation and continues to the north elevation of the building. Lighting, the lighting is gooseneck arm lighting. As mentioned earlier, this type of lighting was previously approved by DRB. I know the image is red, but they are proposing for a black finish. And then they're also going to add a pendant recessed can light, which is going to installed under the canopy. And as far as the awning, it's a metal standing seam roof and supported with beam and wood brackets. As for the door, it's a 3/4 single light exterior door, black finish, also previously approved by DRB. And lastly, with all those proposed additional materials, we recommend approval for those items to be built. Any question for staff and the applicant?
Jack, I have a question. I saw there was a comment online that somebody had a question about. Do you guys answer, to respond back to those, or is it just?
I'm not aware.
Greg responds to those.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. They were just asking, like, I thought it was 2-story, but it looks 3-story.
Oh, yeah.
How do you, that's 3 stories, or?
No, it's actually a 2-story building.
Yeah, 2-story
Yeah,
building, correct.
yeah.
Yes.
Just because of
I
the
just wanna-
mezzanine, it looks like a 3-story.
And really, the only change to this is just adding the stairwell in the back.
Yes.
The awning has already been approved. The door style has already been approved.
The lighting.
So it's essentially just adding access to another office space up there,
Yes,
correct?
that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for staff?
I have a question. Is this stairwell required by code, or is it just a preference for a tenant?
Well, they've decided to, I think this is the office upstairs, right? So I think the applicant would like to just add the stairs that leads out to the building.
Okay, so it's not considered a means of egress?
I'm sorry, what?
It would not be considered a means of egress?
Not really, not that I know of.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a means of
Yeah.
egress?
Jump in? Yeah.
It would be egress.
Okay.
Tracy Ward, architect of record. What really happened here is the two owners are both owner occupants. So one has the office space upstairs, one is managing the athletic facility below. So for both of them, this is one of 2 stairs that were inside the building. they were complaining it's in the way kind of thing. The guy below, it's in my way, and the guy above, it's taking away from my leasable space. So we said, okay, what if we take it outside and kind of wrap the corner with it, make it kind of cool and industrial and exposed steel? And they both like the idea. The fire marshal has agreed. In fact, we've got a permit that's just, the caveat is having your approval. So it is a second means of egress, but it just moved from an interior box to spread out and wrapping around the corner. Does that make sense?
Yes. And so you did have the fire marshal approval?
Oh, yeah, we've got a building permit is waiting to be picked up.
Okay.
Just relying on tonight.
And what they don't show in this one from the previous is this is the rear of the building, which is behind it is a wooded kind of line that blocks it between, because I do believe that there wasn't any opposition beforehand
No,
with the building
there's not.
itself from any of the adjacent neighbors or anything like that, because it's pretty heavily vegetated in the rear that you don't really see this, and it's tucked way back to kind of in that area also.
Sure what that was.
But I'm sorry, did you have anything else or?
No, that's the
it?
gist of why we're back here, was that stair moved
Got it.
from inside to outside.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? No? All right. We'll open it up to public comment.
We have none.
None. Anyone in the audience? No. I will close public comment. Discussion for the board.
So I remember in other DRB meetings last year, discussion about moving away from having exterior types of stairs. I think it was because of putting fire stairs out there, but are we like have a policy, or do we have some type of, standard that we want to abide by with like external types of stairs? And I know in this case, there may be exception because it's hidden, but it may not always be hidden. And
Why did the DRB?
It was Doug Henney when he was on here. It was really because of these buildings over here with the
Right, yes.
switchback stairs.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of it, or what was the reasoning?
Yeah,
The
just that,
aesthetics? Okay.
and he asked why we're doing that, and it was a budget reason. And it was sort of just, sounded like it was just coming up.
Mhm.
Or leasable space where they're running into.
Yeah. So just curious, like what are we?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the over here. From what I vaguely remember is that those are positioned in a way to where they're just these long structures that they're switchback stairs that go down and to come back, and then at least they're trying to wrap around it. So that's a good question. I don't know if there is a standard, so to speak, for exterior, steel or stair structures like that. I do know that it is required for egress for the fire, but that's only if there's no accessible way to get to it from the interior, if I'm correct. So,
Well, we don't have really a standard that talks about exterior stairs.
right.
So that's one thing.
Personally, I think I would prefer to not see that in, our commercial buildings. I just think it just feels really industrial, and I don't know that that's really what we were trying to convey. But, this is a great looking building. I think the stairs don't take away from it in this example, but I just, this is probably going to keep coming up, and I just want to make sure we're not like, well,
Stairs are big, exterior stairs are a big conversation.
Yeah,
topic on
yeah,
this board, so it
and
is one of those
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've heard a lot of opposition and people saying absolutely no more exterior stairs.
One thing I'll say about this building, it is behind the aquarium building on Highway 9. These buildings are on the looking at the building from the front. The stairs on the right side next to that old insurance home that we made them change the whole facade of that building with the 3 peaks they've made it an office. So there's evergreens all on both sides of these stairs that back up to the backside and on the side. It's just, I do agree with the aesthetic of the stairs. So.
It's not exposed necessarily.
I do drive by that every day too, so it's. So I didn't even realize that construction had started back there. I mean, obviously it's just ground clearing probably.
We've done some site work.
Yeah, but you can't even tell it's there. And even at this height, you're not gonna be able to really see it from Highway 9
From
as you
Highway
drive
9.
by.
There's an existing building in front, so this proposed building is behind it. And the location of the stairs, when you look at it, it's really in the backside,
That corner.
which back corner, yeah.
Now, you bring up a good point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard because it's like at what point do we have to say, hey, look, we need to kind of start trying to veer away from this, just gaining access to it. But then, you bring up, like I brought up the point, it's like, oh, well, the back is vegetative. You can't really see it, but yeah, what if they do clear all that stuff out? So that's a tough one. Okay, what other discussion?
Over here.
No?
So you've evaluated internal stairs and it just doesn't work. I know you kind of went over it again, but they were the neighboring tenants complaining. Is that what it was?
There were no complaints. It was just a financial and a functional decision to try and move that stair out of the way of the athletic facility.
It's 200 in one building.
Aesthetically, I would argue it looks
200 in one
good.
building.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have suggested we do it. I think it is part of the character of the building. So, the window's going to be black. All the other metals are black. The stair just kind of goes with that theme to me.
It does have somewhat of an industrial look to it. I'm just wondering how much more industrial the stairs make it.
Yeah.
But, okay. Any other comments or discussion or? Nope. So this is the final review, correct?
Yes, sir.
So,
You make recommendations to the director,
okay.
whether you approve the stairs or, not approve
Or
of
not,
it.
the director has the ultimate.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So where do we stand on this one? And we don't have to all be in agreement, right? So-
I don't want to set a precedent that we're going to allow this. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, I just feel like, I think that you've done a wonderful job with this, and this does look amazing if it wasn't in Milton. I think if we start approving stairs based on the visibility, I think we start to nuance the approval too much, especially because, again, we can't foresee 5 years down the road, neighbors. I think if we just set the standard across Milton based on the feedback that we've heard from people just desperately not liking exterior stairs, I don't know.
Any other comments? So, I guess in this instance, we'll make a motion. And then we'll make a motion and then we'll second that. And then we'll just vote essentially on that. I will say that I don't necessarily mind them, but I do understand the contention with the stairs, with the city, not only with our former DRB member and now councilman, but also a lot of people that he's talked to as well is kind of just adding that as a cost-effective way to kind of access another story of a building. So, and the fact that this has already kind of been through DRB, it wasn't a home run. I actually like it, but I think that there was some discussion in that meeting as well. But given that it was kind of tucked back in that parking lot and not as necessarily as visibly, going to be seen as at the roundabout out here that we were okay with it. And now to come back and say, hey, listen, now we're going to add these giant metal stairs on there or steel. So I think it's a tough one, but I tend to kind of agree with the board on this one that at some point we're just going to have to say, I don't think that's a recommendation that we want to kind of make for the city of Milton. So, so with that, I will ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion. I'll make a motion for item 7B to approve the prospective updated staircase, exterior door, lighting, and metal canopy.
Second.
But not the stairs?
Oh, did I miss the stairs? No, the stairs are there. I'll say the stairs. Sorry.
Okay. So you're making a motion to approve?
I'm making an approve to approve the whole package, yes.
Okay.
And I second.
Second, okay. So we've got a motion from Mr. Robinson and a second from Ms. Gagne. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So we have a motion for approval from Mr. Robinson and Ms. Gagne and a motion for denial from the rest of the board. So this motion is for denial.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you recommend denial of the proposed staircase and all the, just the staircase or the other?
Well, so do we have to make a second motion, I guess?
Yeah, let's do that to make it clear. I'm sorry.
So I'll maybe retract that. So I'll make a motion to approve all components of the final review. And how do you differentiate that though? If I'm going to make the approval, but we still have some opposition on the board.
So
How does that word properly?
then I'm assuming that one of the,
All of the components
Less the
except for the
stairs.
stairs.
with the exception of the, well,
But if,
no, because you already made the motion to approve it as is, but then we did a vote. So then the vote
Just separate.
was for the denial, not for the approval. So
We need a second
So we
motion.
need a
So-
second motion to do without the stairs.
we would have to do a second motion.
but if we don't approve the staircase, do we need this roof access ladder? Because that's a part of
Roof
it.
access,
Yeah.
you'll need that.
Okay, so that would just go all the way down
All the way
though.
down.
Actually, for
Okay,
HVAC.
okay.
Although, is there a door underneath there? Did I just see
There
that?
is an
Yeah.
exterior door
There's an
too.
exterior door there.
Yes, so they wouldn't need the door.
Without the stair, where does the roof access ladder go?
Yeah, it's from
Oh, so
inside.
it was normally inside? Okay.
So then really only the lighting and the metal roof awning.
Yeah, the awnings and the doors and all that
All
stuff
the
were already approved.
lights,
So if they
yeah.
were to put a door and an awning there, would they still have to come back?
No,
No, because those architecturally
those are
were
part,
already
those are
approved.
addition.
Maybe not necessarily in that location, correct, or no?
So just to clarify, what we're actually recommending approval or denial here is for all the components. So if we're saying that we're denying the stairs, then all of those components will be not added as well. Because
Correct.
basically, they've included that, like the lighting, the canopy, it's all for that staircase as part of the package. So I guess for tonight, we may have to recommend approval from Mr. Robinson and Ms. Gagne, and then specify that during the vote that 4 of the board members is not an approval of the staircase, specifically the staircase.
Okay,
And
Yeah.
then,
yeah. Yeah. So we need to do that now?
yes, just let's do it one more time.
Do we need, since I already did it, do I need to do it again? That's fine.
Well, no, because you voted for, so,
I'm a 4, so I think it needs to be,
Yeah,
the stairs
so-
got to be removed, or I don't know how the city wants to word that.
so that motion didn't,
The
Didn't
motion
pass.
is okay. I think
didn't
we'll,
pass. So we just need to make a different motion.
yes.
Motion.
Got it. So, okay.
Somebody else
So
makes
can
it,
we
sorry.
get a motion? Can we get a new motion?
So it would be to approve,
Well,
with the exception of the exterior stairs?
if we do that, we already, you could make that motion, yes. But I think it's all or none on this one.
Oh, it's all or not.
Mhm.
So then it's to
So
deny
then
it?
you make a motion to deny.
Correct.
Right.
So I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to deny the addition, or excuse me, to deny 7B, 123 Total Fitness request for updating the building plan that includes a staircase, exterior door lighting, and metal canopy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mr. Warlick and a second from Ms. Dianella. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye,
Yeah,
okay. So just to be clear that there was an aye from Coker, Jackson, Warlick, and Dianella.
Yes.
And so the motion is approved as denied. Okay? All right, thank you. All right, moving forward, 8A or 8A, new business. Any new business?
Yes.
I have a question on new business regarding, and maybe this is something that we speak outside of it, but the whole, I know that we had some demolition stuff that was supposed to go, but because of the advertisement, that now is being deferred a month, right?
Yes.
Is there not, or is there someone that can maybe give us, and I know we've had kind of an information session on this as well. I just find it very hard to believe that it has to go in for, because we've been given the responsibility, this board has, to deny or approve demolitions. Is there no way that this board can make a recommendation to the ordinance that says that if it's a just dilapidated building or inhabitable structure for whatever reason and stuff, that those don't necessarily need to come in front of this board?
Well,
And maybe that's a question that we have outside and then that's totally fine. But I mean, I guess that's, for me as a citizen
Valid question.
on the other side, if
Valid.
if I just want to build a new home, which is obviously an attribute to the city of Milton, and I have to go in front of a board, which takes 45 days, I have to submit packets, submit surveys, I have to go through all this money, time, and effort, and I do everything right, but because of just a
advertisement requirements. all
yes,
that.
and just because of a clerical error that now time and money are going to be more spent. I just feel like that's detrimental to the average citizen, not necessarily to builders and developers. They go through that all the time, and it's pretty much expected I do. But I don't know. I guess, is there someone that we can talk to, or I can talk to that?
Well, what we could do, because right now it's in the ordinance, so it's legal.
Mhm.
Another thing that we could do is discuss it with the community development director.
Mhm.
If you want as a chair to meet with him and just discuss that would be, we can certainly make arrangement for you to meet with him and the zoning manager. And because the next step for that one would be a text amendment,
Mhm.
which is going to go, of course, to planning commission, to the council for approval. But that's, I mean, just to give you a start, it's first to talk with
Okay.
Bob Buscemi.
Yeah, it was more of just a kind of question of who I would. I've with a lot of other municipalities, they don't necessarily, now they don't all have design review boards, right? So that may be the underlying, issue there or whatever, but there is no advertising period and stuff like that for demolition. And for me, I would just like If it's on a historic register, or the city or the staff or somebody finds it as a historic building, then maybe at that point.
Has to
But if
go
it's
to-
just a
yeah.
dilapidated building or something like that, so.
Like a
Anyway,
vacant building that's, been
Yeah.
there for,
yeah,
okay.
it's only for the benefit of the city of Milton that, no. But anyway, okay. That's all I had. I apologize.
Yeah, no, valid
Any-
point.
Any other new business? No? Okay. 9A, old business? Any old business?
We have none.
We have none. Okay, great. Then can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion for Ms. Jackson. Can I get
Second.
We have a second for Mr. Robinson. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.